Good morning and welcome to X-Pulse AI Morning Mix. It's Wednesday, May 6th. Today, the White House weighs pre-release reviews for top AI models, Big Tech offers the U.S. early access for security testing, and the chip and capital tug-of-war tightens from Oregon to China. Orion's here. Ready?
Ready. Let's get into it.
Reuters reported on May 4th the White House is considering executive steps to vet advanced AI models before they're released. Orion, what's on the table?
Officials are exploring a government review process for the most capable models before public deployment, aimed at safety and national security risks, like cyber exploitation. Reuters says it would resemble the United Kingdom's multi-agency approach, and it's a shift from a more hands-off stance.
When they say vet, are we talking paperwork or a real test?
More like structured evaluation, model behavior under stress, misuse potential, and security vulnerabilities, especially around cyber. The open question is scope. Which models qualify, what agencies run the reviews, and whether it's mandatory gating or a softer review and recommend system.
What's the practical impact if this becomes policy?
Release calendars get more bureaucratic, but also more predictable. Labs may design with auditability in mind. If it's done well, it standardizes safety testing. If done poorly, it becomes a compliance maze. Either way, ship fast starts to mean ship fast after approvals.
Staying on Washington, Reuters reported on May 5th that Microsoft, Google, and Elon Musk's xAI agreed to provide U.S. officials pre-release access to new models for national security testing. Orion, what's driving this?
It's largely about risk containment, especially concerns that newer systems could accelerate hacking, vulnerability discovery, and other exploit paths. The agreement expands government-industry cooperation, giving agencies earlier visibility so they can probe models before broad release, rather than reacting afterward.
Is this voluntary red teaming or the start of a formal gate?
Right now it's cooperative and pre-release, but it pairs neatly with the White House vetting idea. The soft version is labs share, agencies test, feedback flows. The harder version is the same pipeline turns into a requirement with timelines and thresholds.
Do companies risk leaking secrets by handing over models early?
That's the trade. IP sensitivity versus trust and risk reduction. Most of these programs can run in controlled environments, but there's still exposure. The incentive is clear, though. Nobody wants the headline that their unreleased model helped someone find the keys to the internet.
Now the capital side. Times of India reports on May 5th that Chinese authorities are telling domestic AI startups to reject U.S. origin funding unless explicitly approved, tied to backlash after Meta's Manus deal. What's going on?
The reporting says regulators are effectively tightening the filter on cross-border investment into China's AI sector. It's framed as guidance, reject U.S. origin money without approval, reflecting geopolitical tension and the political shockwave from Meta acquiring Chinese origin Manus.
What does that do to the startup ecosystem there?
It can compress fundraising options and push startups toward domestic capital, state-backed funds, or approved foreign channels. It also complicates partnerships where money and technical collaboration travel together. In practice, it's one more force splitting the global AI market into distinct financing and compliance zones.
Let's talk infrastructure. MSN reported on May 6th that ASML demand is surging with AI chip needs, and Hillsboro, Oregon rushed long-term data center tax breaks before a new state moratorium. Orion, connect these dots for us.
AI demand is pulling the whole supply chain. ASML's extreme ultraviolet, or EUV, lithography tools are crucial for leading-edge chips, so orders spike when chip makers expand. On the other end, cities like Hillsboro try to lock in data center investment with incentives before policy clamps down.
Why the rush before a moratorium?
Moratoriums usually signal concerns about grid capacity, energy costs, and local infrastructure strain. If you're a city, you want the tax base and jobs, but you also don't want brownouts. So incentives become a timing game. Approve now, debate the constraints later.
Does this slow AI build-out or just move it around?
Mostly, it relocates and reprices. Compute still gets built, just where power is cheaper, permitting is faster, and incentives exist. The bottleneck isn't imagination, it's megawatts, transformers, and how quickly the physical world can keep up with the digital one.
On adoption and money, a Globe Newswire distributed analyst report on May 5th projects global AI investment activity surpasses $650 billion annually by 2026 and says organization-wide adoption rises to about 40%, up from 22% in 2025. Orion, big claims. What's behind them?
The report points to agentic workflows, hyperautomation, and more domain-specific models, chemistry, industrial, healthcare, moving from pilots into scaled deployment. It also cites large geographic initiatives like the United Arab Emirates' $1 billion AI for Development program aimed at projects across Africa and India.
Does 40% adoption mean real transformation or just more chatbots?
If it's truly organization-wide, it's less about chat and more about embedded automation, routing, summarizing, forecasting, compliance checks, and decision support inside workflows. The risk is shallow adoption. Everyone buys licenses, nobody changes processes. Your spreadsheet can't carry culture, it can only judge it.
What should listeners watch to see if this trend is real?
Look for durable budget lines, compute data engineering evaluation, and for operational metrics improving, cycle times, error rates, support backlogs. When those move, adoption is real. When only the demo improves, it's theater.
A few quicker moves across the market. Reuters on May 5th says venture arms tied to OpenAI and Anthropic are in talks to buy AI services firms that help businesses deploy models. Orion, what's the play?
It's vertical integration for the messy part, implementation. Buying services teams can speed enterprise rollouts, reduce failed deployments, and create a tighter feedback loop from real customer systems back into product. It also puts model labs closer to the budget owners who pay for outcomes, not benchmarks.
On devices, The Verge cited Bloomberg on May 5th. Apple may let users pick third-party AI models system-wide in iOS 27 and across iPadOS. And how big is that?
If true, it turns Apple Intelligence into a model routing layer. Users could swap the brain behind features. That's big for competition and privacy positioning, because Apple can emphasize the interface and on-device controls while letting external models do some heavy lifting.
Meanwhile, costs are getting spicy. What's happening with infrastructure budgets, and who just raised money?
Yahoo Finance notes hyperscalers citing rising memory costs and supply constraints, which can quietly dominate AI build budgets. Separately, AI Market Watch reports Featherless.ai raised $20 million Series A, co-led by AMD Ventures and Airbus Ventures, for serverless open-source inference. Health Exec adds the American Hospital Association launched a 3-year AI and telehealth scaling initiative with West Health Institute.
That's XPulse AI Morning Mix from XPulse for Wednesday, May 6th. Share it with someone who'd find it useful. See you next time.